So this topic it's you is going to read.
It's fine. Uh, some of us who have lived long enough to see the changes, especially in behavior and the development, we've learned a lot, I can say. Because you see, currently the discipline with the kids, I think has flown through the window. I don't even know how I can say. It has flown through the window really. I think mainly because it's just we had chances of growing up with our grandparents and great grandparents, and we learned a lot. Maybe that's why the problem could be. What do you think?
So you want to tell me that these days children are not growing up with their parents and their grandparents? Like,
no, children are only being taken to villages over Christmas period. And the other days, kids are more or less at school.
But maybe that's where you're living. Don't you think there are some, what's in the village? There are also kids in the village. And I also believe like those days when you're growing up, even there were those kids who used to be in Kampala, only that way by that time you're not in Kampala.
Definitely I wasn't in Kampala, but at the same time, even kids who came from Kampala would find us in our villages, and you would really see that behavior-wise, they were doing really, they are not like kids of today. Because even now when you go to the villages are also even worse than towns. They are behaving the same way. You find kids are already being involved in robberies. You know, I think things have really gone bad. But of course, you see, if we could go back in the old, okay, I can call them old good days, we had very many proverbs which would come from our grandparents. Do you remember some of the proverbs? Even if it's in a local language, the Ruchiga Nyankole, you can say it maybe.
But before I go to the proverbs, you know, now a lot has changed. A lot. Like now there are very many schools, but before there were a few schools, only those traditional schools. But now everywhere, just 2 kilometers a school, 2 kilometers a school, and also churches. Everywhere churches, this church, so many churches. But before, there were just a few things. I don't know why. Even now we have very many people. The population also now is very high. So the old days, I think we are going to talk about the old days, but we have to forget about those old days. They're not coming back.
No, the old days are not coming back, but we can pick a lesson or two. Maybe that's where we went wrong. I think we didn't remain with the consistency we grew up with, because you now see even, I think modernization has also spoiled so many things. You see, when your own kid, you cannot just point a finger at them. They will take you to police. And yet some of those fingers are the ones which have made us who we are right now. Some of those canes we had are the ones which gave us the direction. I'm not encouraging beating or anything, but I think if you can go back, I'm sure if we didn't get some of those canes, we would have actually been the first group, or the first lot of the current kids. So the punishments, the guidance we got is what has made us different from these people. We would have been the first lot of these current kids, but we didn't because of that.
But even those old days, you know, my dad used to tell us that they would just see land and then they're like, oh, this is my land. Like, you just take land. Then when he was at university, he used to pay for his brothers and sisters because the university used to give them money and there was no unemployment like now. You at university, you're getting money. So definitely, you know, like life now, it's totally different from that time. So, as I already told you, definitely. Now the unemployment is high. People have to rob. You just wake up and the office just to go and steal because there are no jobs. So that discipline, you find that it is not coming, and there are also very many students like in school. So that's why you find like some of these behaviors even coming up in school. Then students have phones. So even those problems we're going to be discussing, I don't know if you have any problems that you're going to be telling our listeners. But what I can assure you, we are going to the worst. If we want to go.
Of course, the fact is, things have changed. We are completely in a new generation, the 21st century. We are no longer in the 20th century. We cannot run away from that fact, but at the same time, we can't keep doing wrong things because and having excuses. One thing I can assure you, 100%, if everyone did their part, starting from our families, actually, even the problems that our governments are facing, by the way, are starting from home. How do you even start giving sweets to a student who is in primary, who wants to become a leader, to go and start giving fellow students? Because that's bribery. What do you expect of this person once they've reached those offices and looking at money? They will still use money because now they can afford to touch that money. They will still use this money to do whatever they want. The same way they are using sweets which are being given to them by parents to go and bribe their fellow kids. That's why we are saying maybe we should first go back a little bit and see how things were, what used to happen. Maybe you can boil a leaf. Because you see, the whole truth is, people don't want to look behind. They only want to start where they are. We found phones, we found internet. Sure, let's go TikTok, let's go Facebook. And we forget that once you've slept, all these things don't mean anything. Let's also know that there is actually life beyond these phones and life we are trying to look at.
Okay, so you wanted me to tell you some proverbs?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, proverbs are, proverbs are in our local languages. So, akati kwa kachiri kabisa, that's a proverb.
Yes.
You bend a stick when it is still young. When it has grown, it is hard. If you try to bend it, when it is old, it will break. I think that makes a great meaning. Like,
yes,
it's
if you
obvious.
that one is an obvious thing.
So what's the meaning of that proverb?
The meaning of that proverb is you're not supposed to wait for the kids to grow up. You should start on them when they are still young.
Yeah.
Do whatever guidance you want to give them when they are still young. You know, once they've grown, that is the end.
Yeah.
Any other?
Any other? Oh my goodness. No, I cannot think of any other proverb. You tell us yours in your language.
Okay, mine are in Rufumbira. And I'm going to use Rufumbira, but I'll translate in English. There's one which says, amazi arashuha ariko ntiyibagirwa iwabo wambeho. In English, water, you know, with science, it says that water boils at 100%. Though it has been proven that some places it boils at 76, depending on the sea level position you are on. So it means amazi arashuha ariko ntiyibagirwa iwabo wambeho. That even if water boils and reaches at 100%, as long as you remove fire, it will still go back to zero. Yes? And this proverb is mainly reminding us never to forget where we came from. Where you came from. That's why, like, even if water boils, it will still come back to where it started from, at zero. So all this is about, you know, like whatever you passed through, even if you've gone so far, like the current things we've been talking about, the phones, everything, they are good developments, but at the end of the day, there is life beyond gadgets. So we need to still go back and have our own life, know that we need to breathe fresh air, we need to have these natural walks, Because you see, once you have those things, because we used to do them before, okay, it's just that those days it was maybe forced. Because you find you would walk, because there are no cars, there are no bicycles, you would walk to school, walk to the market, go everywhere, you get it. So, but you see, in the long run, you would be healthy, you wouldn't be having all these health complications like diabetes, everything. But now we have the gadgets, we have the cars, we can afford borders. In the long run, we are getting these diseases. So that's why I think some of such a proverb can really help us if we are to study it in depth. Can help us to maybe correct some of the wrongs we are currently doing.
Give us more proverbs.
Then the
And we explain briefly.
okay. Then the other one is okay. I think you've said it, Nyankole.
This one, the one I said.
Yeah,
You have another one?
yeah. I think I have a few. I have a few
Me,
more.
mine are over. You are old, you know them.
Not really that I'm old, but I was with my grandfather and my grandmother for some time. So we always had some of those chats around the fires. You see, gone are the good days when
Tell
we
us
have
those
natural
days.
campfires.
Those days are gone.
Natural campfires around the what they're called, what? Amahega.
Cooking stones.
The cooking stones.
Yeah.
We're now forgotten about them. So the other one, of course, which is also closer to what you said, agati kagororwa kakiri gato.
Yes.
Agati kagororwa kakiri gato. Okay, even like and you see, these are practical things. You realize even like those times when people would be planting certain things, they would always make sure that they follow them up and try to give them a certain direction. Because you see, once they've reached up, then it's completely a different story. Yeah. So it's like I've forgotten
Most of them.
but I think I can still recall.
If you have forgotten, we will compile them, then we'll bring another video.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I only knew one. We didn't make research. But I think we...
No, it's not about research because we are just
freestyling.
Just
Alright. Yeah, we will come back with another video about these proverbs. Not so?
Yeah.
Okay.